Hello everyone, welcome to the Tournament Centre. I'm your host, Rich Hagan. I am sitting alongside, wave at the folks at home, Mr. Nate Price. What's your title right now?
I am the Associate Community Manager for Organized Play for Magic the Gathering. So I'm the social community guy for basically the Pro Tour, the Grand Prix, Friday Night Magic, and anything to have to do with organized play.
All right, well it turns out that right now, Nate is going to live at the computer on CoverItLive. Get yourself on CoverItLive. Over there, though, is Mr. Zac Hill, and he's waiting to take us through the 8 second picks from our draft feature. So what we're going to do, we're going to head it on down. Let's get our feature table revved up on the big bad wall over there, and here we go. Let's see what we've got. So you've got Sam Black, Eduardo dos Santos Vieira, Alexa Tellerov, Andrew Cuneo, Sean Pottinger, Patrick Dittman, Ken Yukihiro, and Ben Stark. Let's see, where shall we start? How about, go on then, who do you want to start with? Let's start with Andrew Cuneo. I think that's a good place to start. So he is our first drafter. So here was his first pack. And Andrew Cuneo, from that pack that you're looking at on the wall there, he ends up picking an Elvish Mystic. So that is the first pick. Nate, give them the poll. So Zac, you now get 45 seconds to look at this second pack and answer the question, so what now? Vote at home.
All right, so the first thing to understand, I have no idea what these people pick. So I'm just assuming, based on that first pick, what are we thinking about? I look at this pack, stuff that stands out to me. You picked a green card, you want to look at green cards. You've got Hunt the Weak, decent piece of green removal. Undergrowth Scavenger, a very solid body, but not particularly powerful till late in the game. You've also got Overwhelm, which is a decent overrun style effect. Good to close out a game, but not something you can do early. Other cards in the pack that seem powerful include Inferno Fist, probably the second best red common, Accursed Spirit, good solid black card, Sign in Blood, Kinsbale Skirmisher if you want to cut off white, really the only real white card in the pack. I really like staying on color, and I think that this card accomplishes something that a lot of other green decks can't do, so I would probably take Hunt the Weak out of this pack. Second card I'd be looking at actually is Kinsbale Skirmisher, because I think green-white, one of the most powerful color combinations in the format.
All right, that'll do. So let's come back to the desk, and I'm going to turn to Nate Price and say, so what was the answer in the poll?
It was actually, it started out fairly one-sided. It looked like most of the people were going to vote for Inferno Fist. It turns out that the winner of this vote was Inferno Fist at 47%, but Hunt the Weak, Zac's choice, actually came in second with 35%.
All right, so let's see what Andrew Cuneo actually took for his second pick. After Elvish Mystic, oh, there we go. All right, so that's one to Zac.
One for one, okay.
Must be
Let's do
nice.
this.
Very good. All right, so let's go back to our draft table and see who is next. Well, we're going to go round in table order. So it is Sean Pottinger of the United States who's up next. Let's take a look at his first pick. And there you see, he ends up from out of that pack, a Jurubai Merc Lurker. That is his first pick, so already a sort of gold card in some ways. But let's see what his pack is for pick 2. Go on CoverItLive and vote now for what now? Zac.
Okay, so if you're gonna first pick Jurubai Merc Lurker, that means you're a solid commitment to blue-black. The card is not good in mono blue. That is a willingness to declare a color early. So what I'm trying to do is maximize the value of that by taking a blue or a black card. You don't want to waste your first pick of the draft. The card that stands out to me in that case, definitely Ether Spouts and Flesh to Dust. Both very powerful removal effects. Flesh to Dust you can use more offensively, but blue usually a control deck. Ether Spouts gives you card advantage, can take out an entire army. Not as flexible as Flesh to Dust, but potentially even more powerful.
10 seconds.
Other cards that stand out, Quickling, Research Assistant, Crippling Blight, not really in the same league. I am going to go ahead and say Ether Spouts. Flesh to Dust, super close though.
Okay, back we come. So, Nate, what went on in that poll?
The raw power of the rare is going to win out in this one, actually. Either Spot took it with a massive 2/3 of the votes. The only thing was even close was Flesh to Dust, like Zac said, which people decided to go with the strength over versatility.
So everyone wants Aether Spouts. Let's see whether Sean Pottinger agrees. His pick 2 was Ether Spouts. Very good. Well done, CoverItLive, and Zac as well. So we go back to our table. We've seen 2 already. And next up is the Modern Master from Germany, leading the German World Magic Cup race, Patrick Dittman. Let's look at his first pick. There was his opening pack. And he is going to end up with a lovely, lovely card, Obelisk of Erd, which has the big virtue of going anywhere you like next. So this could be a tricky one. The poll is going up now. Vote now. Zach, pick 2. So what now?
So Obelisk of Erd is a really interesting first pick because, you know, it's technically a colorless card, but it really goes well with tokens. And you're probably not going to want to make squid tokens. You might want to make spirit tokens, soldier tokens, given those are 2 of the best commons in white out of Raise the Alarm and Triplicate Spirits. So I'm thinking white, even though I take a card that's nominally colorless. Card that stands out to me, Oresco Swiftclaw. Great 2-drop, 3/1, solid body, solid on the curve. You've got other options, though. Obviously, if you can boost your Childs of Night, that lifelink can win you a game by itself. There's plenty of vampires in black. I see Divination. I see Geist of the Moors. Really, really excellent white uncommon.
10 seconds.
Spirits go well with Triplicate Spirits as a tribal theme. Also just a really straightforwardly powerful card. I think that I am going to take Geist of the Moors out of this pack.
All right, so Geist of the Moors is Zach's pick. What about Cover It Live, Nate?
Zach is 100% on going for CoverItLive's big pick. Geist of the Moors is definitely the big pick. The next highest was actually the Swiftclaw too, so they decided to stay on color and go for the aggressive cards, and the flyer wins out.
Let us see what Patrick Dickman, how he answered the questions. So what now? And there you go. Well done to both of you. You agree with Patrick Dickman. Let's move on round the table. And we see our 4th drafter, and it is going to be Ken Yukihiro of Japan in the World Magic Cup race. Let's see what his opening pack brought him. And you see a card that is really tearing up the Pro Tour. It's one of the feature cards, standout cards of the weekend. It's Goblin Rabble Master. So we've got a pretty secure red card, pick 1. So here we go, Cover It Live, and Zac Hill. So what now?
So Goblin Rabble Master, not quite a bomb in the traditional sense of the word, but a really, really powerful card. You're obviously, again, going to look for red, but there's not a whole lot there. You're seeing Lava Axe, definitely not a card you're picking early, and that's really it. So you're going to have to declare some sort of change. The question is, what archetype do you want to be in? I tend to think of red-green a little bit weaker than a lot of other sets, unless you get a Kurd Chieftain. There are not a lot of synergies in the colors. Red-white, on the other hand, you can Heliod's Emissary, or Heliod's Pilgrim for enchantments like Inferno Fist, and also you've just got a lot of aggressive cards in both colors. So I really like being in red-white if I'm going to pick a red card. You got token synergies, too. Midnight Guard, a little bit defensive, but powerful with Convoke. Not that exciting. You've got Runeclaw Baron red-green, you got Research Assistant, but red-blue, a little bit awkward of a deck, not the end of the world.
Make a pick.
Necrobite, Necromancer's Assistant. I'm going to go with Midnight Guard. Not going to be excited about it, but I think it's your best option right here.
Okay, it sounds like there were some choices there. Nate, what does Cover It Live make of all that?
CoverItLive agrees with you. Midnight Guard wins again with 2/3 of the vote, and the second highest choice was Runeclaw Bear. Apparently Grizzly Bears is good enough to warrant inclusion.
Interesting. Now, I'm quite interested to see what Ken Yukihiro actually does here. Let's see what his answer to what now. He took the bear. Look at that. Runeclaw Bear. All right. Well, we move on around the table from the Japanese pro to a Hall of Famer, Mr. Ben Stark. This is how we started our draft coverage yesterday morning. His first pick, well, it's a kind of infamous one now, one could even say. He chose Triplicate Spirits. And as we know, there was a Cone of Flame in that pack, which has caused a lot of interest and discussion across the social media networks. But Triplicate Spirits is the first pick, so Cover It Live. You now get to work out, and Zach, so what now?
Okay, so if you're taking Triplicate Spirits over Cone of Flame, that means you have a strong preference for white in this format. Also means you just put the person to your left in red. So what does that mean? Well, the best cards in the pack on sort of a raw power level are Heat Ray, Heliod's Pilgrim, and Nimbus of the Isles. I think that those are probably your best options right here. I like the idea of passing my opponent, or the person to my left, a red card and then taking red and just cutting it. I think I like Heat Ray here. On the other hand, it's even more important to me, I think sticking to your colors in this format is a huge payoff. I think I would probably take Heliod's Pilgrim here, but I think it's a toss-up between Pilgrim and Heat Ray. I like pass cutting. I was from the Midwest. You know what? I'm actually going to go with Heat Ray in this.
All right. So, Nate, Heat Ray was the choice for Zach. Let's see what Cover It Live has to say.
Well, the 1,300 plus people we have in Cover It Live at the poll right now went along with Heliod's Pilgrim. They're probably not based out of the Midwest. So Heliod's Pilgrim was the #1, but Heat Ray was #2.
All right, let's see what Ben Stark did. Okay. That was not what Cover It Live was expecting to see. All right, let's move on round the table. Players, by the way, are getting seated for our next round of feature match action. It's time for Sam Black, and we're going to rattle through these. So Cover It Live, the first pick, there you see for Sam Black, was Stoke the Flames. So Zac Hill and Cover It Live, so what now?
All right, so Stoke the Flames is awesome. It means you want to be in red. And normally you see a pack that's got Siege Dragon there. You're like, okay, well, I'm really excited. You actually have even more options than that. You've got Cone of Flame, Forge Devil, Blast Fire Bolt. I mean, Siege Dragon's a bomb, but you can cast Cone of Flame on turn 5, whereas you may not have enough mana to cast Siege Dragon. I take Cone of Flame here, and then I start running around the arena in celebration because this means red is wide open, and I think I'm going to have a very good deck coming into this pot.
Okay, thank you very much, Zach. Now, I'm going to imagine, Nate, that there's a little bit of agreement on this one.
Yeah, basically this is the most one-sided vote we've had yet.
Okay.
Every card got at least one vote. And
Really?
unfortunately, 94% of the votes went to Cone of Flame.
So all the others were misclicks, presumably.
I'm assuming, yes.
All right, let's just check what happened. The pick 2, the answer was Cone of Flame, of course it was. All right, we move on. 2 more drafters to bring you, and we go to Eduardo dos Santos Vieira of Brazil. His first pick, there you see it, Banishing Light, get it gone. So white is the opener, it's very strong. Let's see what now. Zach and Cover It Live, away you go.
So I love Banishing Light. It's one of your better cards. Again, you look first at the white, you see Sanctified Charge, one of the better white commons. You have another Convoke spell in Will Forged Golem, another thing you're going to be looking at. Hornet's Nest basically brick walls the ground, really, really powerful if you're playing any kind of defense. And then Broodkeeper has a lot of synergies in red-white. That said, I think I want to stay declaring white right here, try to cut it off. I think Sanctified Charge, one of your best commons. I am going to go with Sanctified Charge.
Okay, that seems a pretty reasonable choice. I'm not sure what I don't actually get to have a vote on this, which doesn't seem fair at all. Nate, what would you have gone for here?
My personal vote, I know the power of Hornet Nest. I've had that card fight against people before.
Okay.
And it looks like Cover It Live agrees with us here. Over 60% of the vote has gone for Hornet Nest as the choice from this pack.
All right, so let's see what Eduardo dos Santos Vieira, we can barely fit him up the side there, but he can certainly pick a Hornet Nest along with the best of them, and you are correct. Once again, Cover It Live, we have one more vote for you, and it's the Serbian 6-time team member, Alexa Taylor of Serbia's finest, of course. He opened up with a Heat Ray. Well, it's removal, it's solid. That was his first pick, red, a great strong color. So for the final time at this Pro Tour, Cover It Live and Zac Hill, so what now?
Okay, so you just took Heat Ray over Inferno Fist, so you value removal highly. You want to be able to deal with problematic threats. Again, though, not a lot that's very exciting in this pack in red. You see Thundering Giant, really your only red card. On the other end, green, wide open. You've got my pick for the best green common, a little bit controversial, Siege Worm. You also see Living Totem, very powerful card, Invasive Species, and Reclamation Sage. I think you've got to go into green with green this wide open. If it were me, I take Siege Worm. I know that's a little bit controversial. I think that there's a lot of disagreement around pick orders. I'm going to go with Siege Worm.
Okay, so Nate, for the final time, what does Cover It Live come up with?
Well, there was definitely a little bit of indecision here. I went with, some people went with Siege Worm. Most people went with Thundering Giant. And I think this is going to be one that's going to surprise a lot of people.
All right, so let's see what Alexa Taylorov comes up with. Carrion Crow. Huh. Okay. Righty-ho then. So sometimes it turns out that the collective wisdom doesn't always stack up. Now, let me tell you what we're going to do. That was So What Now, and I can tell you that So What Now is the next round of the Pro Tour. So let's get down to the feature match area. Here comes round 10, approximately now.